Good evening, everybody from South Africa. This is me, Tina Snell, joining you for episode 26 already of Velospitty Speed Talk. Now, if you think back that the Youth Force Racing Group is exactly a year old, a week ago or so, then it works out to one episode every 2 weeks, and we will certainly be looking to accelerate on that. Now, our episode is called Major Danger, and if you look at those two words, you'll find a name in them. The name is Jordan, and that's our guest, Jordan van Wyk. Jordan, good evening. Thank you, and for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Jordan, just before we start, just an announcement. I'm surrounded here in the studio by Huskies, not 2 or 4 stroke, but 4-legged. So if the studio suddenly goes into destruction, you will know why. But before we start, just some racing news. Tomorrow, after half a year of no motocross world championship racing, the MXGP class final, the MXGP series finally gets going. They've elected to start in Russia because the virus don't dare go there. Jordan, do you follow the MXGP racing?
Yes, I do follow it.
Okay, do you have a favorite rider?
Yes, my favorite rider is Jeffrey Hurlings.
Okay, well, if you look back, go back on my YouTube, there's some interviews that I did with Jeffrey Hurlings when he was about your age. So that's an interesting thing to watch. Now, apart from Jeffrey Hurlings, our good friend and group member, Tim Geiser, will be defending his MXGP title. But for us, with a youth focus, there's a couple of riders making their MX2 debut, like riders like Kay de Wolf, Thibaut Benistant, and a couple of others. So there's quite a lot to look forward to. In other racing news, tomorrow at Catalunya will be the FIM CEV Repsol Moto3 Junior World Championships, and also the European Talent Cup. This is super exciting racing. Definitely more exciting than an episode of Game of Thrones. We will be posting a link tomorrow for the live stream. So that's done for the racing news. So Jordan, back to you. Just tell us a little bit about how you got started with racing initially, and how you got into the game.
So when I was 3 years old, my dad bought me an offset, and that learned me the throttle control. And my dad took me to Dirt Bronco a couple of times. And on my 4th birthday, my dad bought me a KTM mini adventure.
All right. So your dad bought you an offset and then took you to Dirt Bronco, but Dirt Bronco is quite far from where you are because you're in Natal. Why would you have chosen Dirt Bronco?
Oh no, we used to stay in Joburg.
Ah, all right. Okay. So you stayed in Joburg and he took you to Dirt Bronco. Now, I'm just going to see if I can find your offset there, because I think we have a picture there of your offset. Let's just dig out this picture from our archives. Is that the bike that you're talking about?
Yes.
All right, so that's you at Dirt Bronco, and you have a number 7. Why would that have been?
I don't know. I just liked the number 7 when I was small.
Okay, and when did you actually start racing?
When I started racing, I was about 6 or 5 years old when I started racing, and my first national was at 6 at Springfield in 2014.
Okay, and how did it go? It looks like you got into nationals quite quickly after you started racing. So how did it go with your first national?
It went good. The first race, I got the whole shot in the thing in the race, and then they restarted the race. And then when I switched my bike off and stuff, my bike wouldn't start again, so my bike broke. And in the next race, I came back and I got the whole shot again, and I was in second following Luke Grundy. And at the end of the race, like James Thompson, and then passed me, and I ended up fifth in that race.
Okay, so that's quite a good launch into your racing A, and I'm seeing we're getting some comments on the broadcast already. Kevin Tyrer, he's of course a very very well known man in the KTM, or let's say Austrian bike hierarchy. Kevin was a mechanic in our team. He was a mechanic for Jonathan Barragan. Always a fun guy. Hi Kevin, and hi to everybody. Thanks for the comments. Okay, Jordan, so that was a good start to your national championship career. What did you think at that stage? Where would your career go? What were your hopes at that stage?
I don't know. That time I was so small, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't properly remember what happened yesterday, so I can't blame you for that. So that was your let's say debut, and then you had
Yeah,
a few years of 50cc national championships and a few years of 65cc, right? So
yeah,
so take us through some of your achievements in these years.
yeah. So in the 50s, I got second in 2 years in a row, and in the 65s, I got second in the one championship, and in the other championship, I didn't. I got fourth overall because I missed the lot. I got skipped the last round because I broke my wrist 2 weeks before the national, and then in 2020, I got the red plate in PE, and then COVID hit South Africa, and then all the racing stopped for a while. And then when I came after a long time of lockdown, I started training again. And 5 weeks before the national, I crashed again and broke my wrist. And then I was off for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And then I got back and I managed to get second and still get second in the championship.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It shows good fighting spirit. Yeah, you speak of something that is, of course, the curse of all riders, which is injuries. I've actually done a translation for Motocross Planet about a rider that had a bad arm break, which kept him out for the whole of last year and this year. So yeah, injuries is always something that looms large over all of us. Now, what were your over the last years, and of course, there's this year which is special, and we will get back to that, which is like a bad hole shot. We get back to it later. There were some good and bad memories over the 60 and 50cc and 65cc years. What were your good memories of these years?
My good memories were when I got my Pro Tech colors on 50s, and when I got chosen for Junior Worlds and got to ride it in front of like the best of the best 65s and everything.
Yeah, now you mentioned Protea colors for those viewers from overseas. Protea colors are national colors in South Africa, and one of our we've got another hello from one of our very 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 best supporters, Dave Lawson in England. This guy is a professional motocross follower. So much so that I've actually made a video about that, and I'll repost that on the group. Now, Jordan, you speak about your Junior World Championship. That was the 65cc Junior World Championships in Italy. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and of course, for those viewers that don't know, at a championship like that, a lot of riders pitch up, and not everybody qualifies. Can you remember how many riders were there at the time?
There were about 83 65s.
Okay, 83 65s, and only 40 make it to the line, and you
Yeah.
qualified, right?
Yes, I qualified 29th.
All right, that's great. Now, of course, this was a track that the kind of track that you were unfamiliar with, which is a typical Italian track, which is hard pack and big up
Yeah.
and down hills. What did you think of the track?
Track was very nice. It was like lots of uphills, downhills, big jumps, and yeah.
Yeah, and those up and down hills, you can't really describe them by just talking about it. You have to see really how steep those up and down
Yeah.
hills are, and be at that track. And of course, you would have seen a lot. Well, you would have seen the world's fastest riders. What was your impression of the level of racing internationally?
It was much more than here in South Africa. The racing there is just much bigger and better there.
Yeah, that's true. You have you go on the line, and you have, like you said, 80 riders, and all of those riders are fast. And then in
Yeah.
among those fast riders was a fast girl as well. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Lotte van Drunen, who I think finished third at that
Yeah.
championship, and yeah, who's making her way through the ATCC ranks as well. She's just qualified, I think, 10th in the semi-final of the Italian 85cc championships, which is a very, very, very competitive series. Now, speaking of international racing, I'm jumping ahead of myself now. What are your plans and your dreams for international racing?
My dream is definitely to go ride full time in Europe, and this year, hopefully, that Junior Worlds doesn't get cancelled again. But if it doesn't get cancelled, we'll definitely go. But if it gets cancelled, we've got other plans to maybe go to Mini-O's in America.
Right. The Mini O's, of course, also a very competitive series. Now, I hear very interestingly that you chose first Europe, because there's a time when you have to make a choice. It's either America or Europe. So it sounds to me maybe you've had the influences of Wyatt Avis and Shannon Terreblanche, who are close to you, who have
Yeah.
both made their way through Europe. Is this why you are looking at the European scene more?
No, not really. It's just that there you don't have to concentrate on supercross and motocross. There you just concentrate on motocross.
All right. So you would prefer to just concentrate on motocross, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Jordan, that brings us now to 2021. You made the jump from 65 to 85. What were your expectations coming into the season?
Last year I was aiming for top 10, but then this year I actually got surprised. Then like my coach Wyatt Davis told me that this year I'll be winning some of the races, and it's actually happening now.
Yeah, it's happened. I think you've had 2 heat wins already. Is that right?
Yes, I've had 2 heat wins.
Okay. Okay. Now, Jordan, just as a little bit of a teaser for our viewers, we look back on a day that I'm sure you're going to remember for a long time, which is the National at Bakisa. And I
Yeah.
made a little edit of that, of some highlights. So you can grab some popcorn and whatever else is handy there, and let's watch a short video of what happened at Bakisa.
Dolly with a luminous vest on. Here we go. So we set off. Who's going to get the whole shot into turn one?
30 cents for a rider on the grid here, but good to see both of them back up and up to speed. Rob, Jordy van Beek has grown quite a bit compared to last year.
He has grown, but he's still tiny. I mean, this kid has impressed me from the first day I laid eyes on him.
So many rookies leading this race in Jordy van Beek and Neil van der Favre. Do you think the experience of Bakko and Botha could play a part in the fight for this win come the end of the race?
I think, as weird as it sounds,
To set the fastest lap of the race as he hunts down his rival Jordy van Beek. And as Rob has said, These two, no strangers to each other, plenty battles in the 65 class in the past.
That is. Oh, that's Jordan.
Our race
That's our race
leader.
leader. I said there was going to be no mistake. Commentator cursed. Jordan van Wyk has gone down at Bridgestone corner. That is gifted the lead to Neil van der Vyver. There comes Baku up into second place. Van Wyk gets it up and going again on the Ridgeway Racebar machine. Stays in third place, but again, even the finest riders getting caught up by these tricky track conditions.
Another look at Jordy van Wyk running in P3.
Jordan van Wyk now starting to come through those back markers, trying to make up for that mistake they made.
As
Oh,
we
look
see
at that,
Jordy
Jordan.
van Wyk
Yeah.
coming back. What a comeback ride from Jordy van Wyk. It would be really good from him. Oh, and he makes contact with the back marker. Did he stay upright?
Watch out for Jordan van Wyk in race 2. I think he definitely has a lot more pace than third place. We saw a couple of incidents there. He went down while he was leading the race. Then he got caught up with the back marker while trying to challenge for second. So I think watch out for the Ridgeway.
Van Wyk was in the driving seat quite early on and unfortunately made a mistake which cost him that race
Corner.
one.
The gates drop. All kinds of sliding and kicking and bucking.
Trey.
Trey Cox with a really good start. He goes to the outside line there. Interesting choice there from Trey Cox. Goes the long way round and trying to cut back across. See him there in that shot. There's Van Wyk. There is Cox. Oh, jeez, there.
Baco in third.
Baco
But,
where is Van der Vyver?
looks like it's been a terrible start to race 2 for our race 1 winner, Neil van der Vyver. Rob, I just want to talk to you quick about that start. Trey Cox, I think that's the first time I've seen someone directly go for the outside. Do you think that was the quickest option, or do you think he's going for a safe option going into the first lap?
I think he had some inside information, maybe from Tristan Purdon or someone within the Red Bull KTM team, telling him, listen, go there.
I think so. There's truly some heroes out here.
Yes.
Jordy van Wyk, what a comeback from him, Rob. We saw a couple of mistakes costing him, but he still managed to bring home the podium in race 1. He's in the same position that he started racing, and surely he's going to learn from his mistakes and be more consistent.
So far.
I think Jordy van Wyk's trying to make sure that even if a mistake comes, he's going to be in the lead. He's really putting out a big gap at the start of this race. Neil van der Vyver, Rob, is in 13th place. You have to wonder, he must have had some problems there off the start because he was dominant in race 1. You know, as we got to the closing stages of that heat, he's now got to do the Trey Cox ride through the field, and I'm very curious to see what he can do.
You have seen mistakes come late on in all the other categories. Massive airtime there from the Ridgeway Racebar rider. Look how tiny that man is. I mean, give the man a head down, bum up, getting the airtime, not doing anything too flash, just getting the job done at the moment is Jordan van Wyk at the front, and it's an absolute joy to watch him. He's pulled away from Trey Cox in second place. 747 going after 747 at the moment and just flying away from the rest of the field. Such a stylish young rider is that man, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a Husqvarna 125cc machine in the near future for that day long. Back markers have been a massive spanner in the works, so Van Wyk's got to get himself through the back markers as easily as he possibly can, as mature as he possibly can, and hope that the likes of Trey Cox and Emmanuel Baku don't do the same and get halted. And then just especially coming into this round where Peterson was starting to build momentum and looking unstoppable, and looks like he's coming in now and just going to upset the apple cart there is Luca Maynard. Coming through here, 747 is Jordan van Wyk, still leading. Now it's back market. Big problem. Well, I say a big problem on their hands. They've got a small problem on their hands because the guy's so tiny.
Sounds like a little big problem, Rob. A little
Exactly,
big problem.
exactly.
And what a ride from Jordy van Wyk. I'm actually struggling for words here because he was doing this up front, but he did not look this dominant.
So Van Wyk maybe just consolidating here, keeping himself in the front end here. Look how rutted that section is. For the final time today, the 85cc riders. Beautiful airtime there. He just looks flawless. He looks so smooth, looking effortless. Is the 747 of Jordan van Wyk. Big round of applause to this young man. Across the line, he's going to be ecstatic with that. Across the line, and he takes the win.
So there you go, Jordan. I'm sure you remember that day. So just take us through how you experienced the day.
Yeah, that day was definitely good. Like that first race, I was in the lead, pulled the smaller room gap, and I made a couple of mistakes, and Neil van der Vyver caught right up to me. And then I started pulling again, and then I made that smaller room mistake, and then crashed. And then I got passed by Neil and Barker, and then I was catching Barker again. And then I came on up the inside of a back marker, and he came across into my line, and went into him and then I crashed. It
All
ended up
right.
third in that moto.
Okay, but okay, that was now the bad moto, and then came the second moto where you won again and secured the overall. So take us through that moto.
Yeah, so that moto, so I got the whole shot, led the whole race, just try to be smooth, stay up and not make mistakes like I did the first race, and then just did it, and I was just so happy when I won.
Yeah, and the commentators said all of that you've just said. The commentators mentioned, no mistakes, get the whole shot, which is important. I think in the level of racing you guys are at, with 4 or 5 top riders there. Now they mentioned something else on a couple of occasions, which is how small you are.
Yeah,
The way they say it is like you hardly bigger than the piston in your bike,
yeah,
but still you handle the bike, all right?
yeah.
All right. Did you ever feel that your size is a disadvantage for you?
No, not really. I think it actually helps me sometimes.
Yeah, because also with power to weight, that's with maybe a bigger rider, especially on an 85, the weight counts more than anything. Now, here's another thing. The commentators mentioned, and you mentioned, of course, there's a huge rivalry with you and Neil. And in the past, South Africa has seen these rivalries. You've had for instance, your trainer Wyatt and Tyler Rattray. You've seen others in Europe. You've seen Tyler Rattray with Tommy Searle and everything. And I think that these rivalries push both riders higher, the motivation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
It's yeah. So it's. I think it increases the level of both riders. Now, in this year's championship so far, it's been yourself and Neil and Emmanuel Bacco, and then just lately, Ryan Adler has also joined, and also Trey Cox, of course. Sorry to Trey, and also just recently, Ryan Adler has joined. He's made advances. So how do you see the opposition this year as you go and aim for the South African title?
yeah. This year is going to be definitely very tough with everyone. I've got so many people that's fast now.
Right. Now your next national is at Legends Motocross, which is Rhino Park.
Yes.
And we've seen you last weekend at Rhino. You had a very, very good outing. How do you see the track, and how do you see your chances at this track?
Yes, the track's very nice. It's a fast flowing track, lots of big jumps, and yeah, and it feel
All
good
right.
about it.
Okay, yeah, it certainly looked like that when I saw you riding at the track last. Now, they mentioned in the commentary, they mentioned your team, Ridgeway Racebar. Just tell us a little bit about this team and how this came about that you joined the team.
So yeah, last year I was in Team CIT, and they stopped. So they came with a plan, and they wanted me to be in Ridgeway's team, and yeah.
All right, and what's the team like? Ryan Adler that I've mentioned before. He's of course a teammate of yours,
Yeah,
and some other strong teammates, Leonard and Baron de Toy,
yeah,
and other riders. How do you feel it inside the team, and what's it like in the team?
yeah. The team's very nice. Like everyone's like it's very nice to each other, and everyone like yeah,
All right, yeah, and it's very professional. I mean, when you look at the team, it looks very professional. They're well presented and
yeah.
everything else. Now, if you spoke about the Junior World Championships that's possibly coming up, do you follow junior racing as well? Not look, the European Championships hasn't kicked off there yet this year, nor has the ADAC. The Dutch Masters of Motocross has been completely cancelled. What do you know about your potential opposition in the 85cc ranks?
I don't really know because I haven't really been watching lots of like the juniors. I've only been like watching MX GPs and like the Americans, like the pro motocross.
Right. Now, in not this weekend because they're in Russia, as I said, but as from the next MXGP, not really 85 cc's, but the EMX 125 and EMX 250 riders will be there, and maybe you can watch that. Gives you a good idea of what the level is in Europe. And then also when the ADACs do start the German championships, we will be posting links so that you can watch those races and get an idea of what the racing is like. Had you ever heard about the ADAC series in Germany and considered racing there?
Yes, we have heard of it, and the McClellans have like wanted us to come and stay there with them, and they wanted to get us like involved with the ADAC championships.
Right. Yeah, it's a very, very, very good and professional series. And it's, you know, it's a very high level because most of the European Championship riders go to the ADAC also because Germany is very central where it's located. So, it borders many countries, and the riders, it's a very central country. And also the Dutch championships in the sand, because both Wyatt and Shannon will have told you to become a complete rider, you have to become really good in the sand. And Wyatt, both of them were excellent sand riders. Have you thought about the Dutch championships as well? Which I know the McClellans, they live in Belgium, so it's very close to them as well.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't really thought about that. We've only been like thinking of like going to Joe Travara's in France for a couple of like weeks and then maybe come back and like stay there maybe for like 4 weeks and do a couple of races there, and yeah.
All right. Yeah. Of course, the French tracks are more again like the Italian tracks, hard pack with up and downhills. Do you have a favorite track of all that you've ridden on, and also a track that you know that you haven't ridden on yet, but that you really like?
I don't know. I really like my favorite track is Italy, where Junior Worlds was last year, and one of my favorite tracks that I don't like. Well, I don't actually know.
All right. Yeah. Because how would you think you would be on a deep sand track, like for instance Lommel or Assen, one of the Dutch tracks? I don't know that you've experienced anything like true deep sand, have you?
No, just Port Elizabeth, that track. That's only that's
Yeah,
like the
yeah, and the guys that know real deep sand tracks will say Port Elizabeth is probably hard pack in comparison. Did you speak to Camden when he was in PE? He came back and he had a brilliant ride for the national there.
Yeah, didn't speak to him that much, but yeah.
All right. All right. And now, if you look forward, you said you were wanting to go to Europe. What would you say your dreams are for your motocross career? Where would you like to see yourself end up?
My dream would definitely be to become a MXGP world champion one day.
Right. Which already gives us an idea of where you are headed. Okay, well, the session at the dentist is just about over. You can go and rest for your race tomorrow. Is it a KZN championship race tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, and are you leading the championship?
No, I have only done one round of the
You've only
championship.
done one.
I think there was 2 rounds. I think this is the third round.
I see. Okay, all right. So you missed a round. In the nationals, you're doing well. I think you're third with only 2 points behind the leader. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot to fight for still there. So Jordan, it was great. You've been a great speaker. I know motocrossers love speaking in public more than they do riding their bikes. So I know you enjoyed this a lot, but thank you so much. Dave Lawson from England just sent you a message saying good luck for tomorrow. And somebody called you a super champion. So obviously there's some serious support for you out there. Thank you for joining us. Are there any specific shout outs that you want to do?
Yeah, I would just like to thank all my sponsors, Ridgeway Racebar Husqvarna West, 24/7 Race Fuels, EHR, yeah.
All
And
right.
EMS.
So, Jordan, thank you very much. I'm happy to report that the Huskies on this side did not destroy the studio while we were busy. So that's a win right there. So thank you very much. The video will be online on the Youth Force page just as soon as we're finished. Also on my YouTube page. So people that missed it or want to rewatch it can watch again. So Jordan, thank you very much. You've been a great guest.
Thank you.